Alright, hey guys, it's JannLee here. I've just finished another match from the candidates round. This match was against blitzbullet. Please don't go anywhere. This was an absolute thriller. Of course, I'm not going to release the result at the start of the video, but yeah, we're about to get started. So this is my second match in the candidates. I took on eCarf last week. We're starting here with e4, e5, and yeah, blitzbullet likes to play bishop e7. I threw in c3 just to try to do something different, and then wasn't really sure if it was what I wanted to do. Now, white's a little bit passive, and because of that, I put up c3. I figure I may as well put up h3 so he can't pin my knight. I mean, white has to develop a little bit slower here. Here it's just asking, black for a move. Bishop e6, d5, their options. Knight a5 maybe not as favourable. Bishop b5, bishop a4, bishop c2 runs from the regular c6, b5 plan. So knight h5 here, and I couldn't really see an easy move. It's just going to come in with knight f4. Until I spotted knight takes e5, which looks like it picks up a pawn. And being in a passive situation I didn't see anything better, so knight takes e5 is what I went with. Pardon me, I've got a bit of a cough. I'm just recovering from some illness from prior weeks. So I'm occasionally going to move my headset around to avoid coughing straight into the mic. Alright, so I think here he decided he was a pawn down and he wanted to go for some initiative. And then, yeah, not sure if he saw something else after bishop takes h3, but, white has some targets on h3, e4, c4, but he can't really sacrifice his black pawn on d3 or f3 too effectively. He could have gone maybe pawn at d3, queen d3, knight at c5, but he can pick off the e4 pawn, and I probably have enough time to recover. So he went with knight at e5, and that's threatening d3 and f3, so I've just immediately countered by defending. So yes, white is up a cold piece here, but just has to defend for a while. Yeah, bishop g5 allows pawn at f4. I think at the time I was also just considering pushing f4, but I think it allows pawn at g3 potentially. So at this stage I'm feeling pretty comfortable and just trying to get warm in the match. So feeling pretty good at this point, up on time, and yeah, here maybe knight at g5 was interesting. I didn't feel too concerned about this. I felt that I was absorbing the pieces. I'm now up 2 pieces, and I just got to keep defending. So the main thing is not allowing something like queen at h2. But he does have a very safe king, so yeah, I still can't attack just yet. So here I'm just looking to defend. And just hold on to everything. So in order for him to keep pressing, he has to keep sacrificing pieces. So here I'm looking at, well, how do I, attack without losing my defense? So, getting onto the dark squares is important. I need to start threatening mate. I've got that material advantage now. So bishop at d4 is a natural choice. Now threatening knight at e7. but he's still got a pawn on the on his 7th rank. So I've still got to absorb a little bit of damage here. Now if Queen G1, I'm not too keen on King G1. He just gets E1 Queen with check. It's probably fine as well. I decided to take with the bishop. Yeah, and here, I mean, mate should be fairly straightforward from here. I was just being cautious because the f5 square was covered, and you don't want to mess it up at this stage. So I nearly went defending with something like knight at f3, in fact. And then I think I was just missing something obvious here. So the right sequence is knight at e7 takes, and then pawn h6. If the king comes out to h6, knight at g4 wraps things up. And here it's just important to move the knight off e7, so that if king e6, queen at e7 covers. Yeah, you can see I've nodded my head a little bit there. Just happy to win the first match. So yeah, I felt the blitzbullet was a little bit slower out of blocks than I was. So into the second game here, he's got white, and he started with this kind of thin shadow setup, and I thought I'd do the same. And I'm just aiming for opening positions where we're both in unfamiliar territory. So queen c8, aiming to hit h3. Now sometimes there's this idea of bishop takes h3, pawn at g4, and bishop g2, g takes f3, e takes f3, but honestly I just think that helps white's safety, and then white's got a few diagonals to start hitting black with, so I didn't go for anything tricky on the king side yet. Pardon me again, just need to let out a cough. It's been quite frustrating for me at work. I've not been able to shake off this cough. Anyway, here I saw if I play h6, I'm threatening g5, but he's going to play queen d2 or queen c1. And I saw this neat trick where I can play g5 and actually trap his queen if he comes to g5, which he did. And yeah, here I should probably start increasing my pace a little bit. Just grab the queen, I reckon. Knight h7 attacks a pawn. It's not going to be easy because, white still gets some initiative. Black would basically have a queen for 2 pawns. But, it's a long game from there still. I mean, white's well defended. What I was considering was something like c6, holding on to the d5 pawn or consolidating that, but pawn at f5 is just playable. So here I'm looking at knight d5 and pawn at f5, so knight b6 is just to try to stop both. And he's continuing aggressively. So in this position, I've got a clear material advantage. I'm pretty much up a queen for a pawn. And, maybe I should just hold on to that advantage. But I am getting concerned of how many defenders are on the king side. And I made a fairly quick decision to take g5 just to alleviate some of that pressure. Queen takes c2 was also an option. And then I've got a long, hard grind, but I'll be up material. Objectively, maybe that was a better option. I didn't mind what I got in the game either. But yeah, I wonder if Black just had to stick it out for much longer and play queen c2, if that's a bigger advantage. Just with 2 bishops on g2, g4 and all the pawns, yeah, I wanted to make some weaknesses. So queen at h4 played, knight at f5 is coming in, and here I'm just trying to maintain some aggression. So I want to try to capture g4, and that's a good defender that white has. Bring that bishop off the board, open up h3. But I think white's fine here. This might even be helping white a little bit, because now knight at f5 seems more dangerous. Not immediately. He has to cover h3, so he could repeat with queen at h4, for example. At this time, I was considering if queen at h3 was worthwhile. But now knight at f5 is actually hitting a target on h6 and e7. So yeah, felt a little bit backwards here. Now we're both, he's got a minute, I've got less than a minute now. We've got to start motoring. And then here I felt like, my position doesn't really hold all that much. I'm starting to head a little bit backwards. I don't know about queen f5. I thought knight at g4 was going to be helpful. Now he sacrificed a few pieces here as well, so he's trying to look for a mating attack. Remove some of the defenders. And my clock, I'm in some time trouble here. Now, if he plays queen takes f6, I've got a nice defensive resource with knight at g4 check to recapture that knight on f6 and still defend h7. That's critical. But yeah, here I'm running short on time. And you start playing second moves, so I shouldn't play that. I should play rook g8 and king g8 here, because I need to defend that bishop on g4. From here it's very difficult. You can see me shake my head. I'm not happy with that. And from here he can try to win on time. It's going to be very difficult for me to penetrate his king side. So yeah, I think in late stages rook g8 would have been better, but the moral of the story here is you can't just leave yourself to show on time. Here bishop at h7 I thought, but then king g7. Yeah, I think what he did is fine. He's just playing safe. He's not letting me in. And I think he's close to finding mate here. So yeah, I'm just desperately throwing pieces. This isn't worthwhile watching. So he finds mate at the end. Yeah, so close match there. I tracked his queen early, and I think I had an edge. And he fought really well, and just kept the safe king and kept applying pressure. So we're at 1-1 here. Maybe I've missed a bit of an opportunity there. But yeah, at 1-1 and only 10 matches to play, it's not like either player is running away with it. Okay, so we went for a fianchetto again, and I actually sought quite quickly to break that up with a piece sack. It's played knight b6, I think, to open up the bishop on c8. But yeah, I'm just going to basically try to walk in through the front door from here. So here I'm just checking that my queen on h5 can't get hit too easily. Threatening bishop takes h6 now, that's very dangerous. This isn't comfortable for black already. I prefer to play the white pieces. And you can't play something like rook f4 because e takes f4, and it's just so dangerous on the back rank with pawn f7 coming in. So knight at g5 is just to block that bishop grabbing h6. If he allows that, it's game over. And here, rather than putting a new pawn on the board, I've opted to play h4. It's good to keep that pawn in hand. I don't have many pieces available. Here there were some interesting lines looking at something like rook takes f4, e takes f4, bishop at g4, trapping my queen. But I think pawn at f7 is too dangerous. Pawn at f7, king h8, h takes g5 is threatening rook h7 mate. So the queen trap idea doesn't work. And now here I'm consuming a few pieces. So here, Yeah, I'm actually looking for mate here, and I was fairly confident I found it with this Queen G7 sack. If King H8, Pawn at G7 mates, and I figured if the King runs out to G6, I should find mate fairly quickly. I've got two bishops on opposite colours in nearby vicinity of the King, so it's pretty easy to create a mating net. You've got very good coverage. So yeah, there we have it for this game. So that was quite a quick one. So yeah, I still felt blitzbullet was just warming up in the first few matches. And at this stage, I'm feeling like I'm playing a little bit better. So I chose a different setup here. I just want to keep mixing up the openings. Done a fianchetto on the opposite side of the board. And I'm looking here at this E4 push. I want to make sure I avoid that, or else white just has a safe king in the center. And yeah, here I'm just thinking there's knight b5 something. Well, the whole position's fairly close, so let's seal that off. And from here, play proceed slowly from both sides. I think Queen c1's a good move. I think bishop takes h6 has to be respected. These sorts of positions where white's got this setup with h3, g3, f2, e2 with the pawns, the bishop on g2. White is so safe. It's very difficult to stage a quick counterattack. So sometimes white can just play a strategy of just opening up black's king side and just having an attacking edge for the rest of the game. So I've played king h7 to avoid bishop takes h6. And there you can see I was expecting e4. I thought he'd break open the center. I thought it would be favourable for him. Here he played g4, trying to be resourceful to get to g5. So I thought it's my turn to get a knight on a good square on h4. And I'm feeling good about my position here. I'm trying to open up my bishop on b7. That's a good piece. Yeah, so something about blitzbullet, about his style. I mean, it's very versatile. He sees all the tactics in Crazy House, but he's also a good chess player. So he's solid on the tactics. You're not going to pick up free pieces. He'll see the position for what it is, I expect. And here, I'm looking at this going, bishop g5 I thought was helping develop, but it's giving me a weakness on g6. And yeah, maybe I've got to consider a little bit more here. I feel like I've helped white in the last couple moves. See, white's got a couple pieces coming forward now, and the big threat looming is bishop takes h6, g takes h6, knight f6 check. I'm here trying to threaten on f3 to counter that. Maybe I should be playing knight at g8 just to put up a bit of defense. And he's played bishop at g2 here, and I felt, well, what's my next attacking move? And I've got a real problem. If I play knight g2, bishop g2, he just gets another knight for f6. So I thought, okay, I better leave it alone. And then now he's got bishop takes e4 check as well, so knight at g8 is not as good. And so I was never getting in on f3, and he's just shown that. He's just kept piling on the defense. But suddenly he's got a nice neat position where he's got nothing in hand, but everything he's got on the board is just placed nicely. So even though he's made this push with g4 with an apparent weakness, he's done very well in this position. And already here I'm saying, well, I think this is a loss for black, because I'm going to drop a pawn on e4, or else he gets bishop takes h6. So I maybe had to admit that I had to defend a little bit earlier than this. And my trouble here is, I thought, if I take the bishop on g2, he's getting another knight, so I solved my problem on e4, but I just create a new one. And I'm just low on time here, so I just had to move. But you'll see very quickly here how he finishes this one off. Now knight at f6 is showing. Yeah, king g6 wasn't much better. That's just force mate right there. So a nice game from blitzbullet, and I kind of felt here, alright, we're both warm now. I mean, he's played a nice game there, just manoeuvring pieces and getting them in better positions than I was. And we're at 2-all here. So we've got 6 matches to go, and we're locked at 2-all. And I'm feeling here like everything counts, and he's managing the clock better than I am. So I had this issue last week as well against Ecar, where I wanted to come out of the opening a little bit quicker, and I found myself in time trouble more often. So last match, just played last game just here, we got the same sort of thing. So okay, this time d4, d5, we've got an early capture on d3. I've got my rook on c file. And it's just a solid position for both sides. And knight df3 is a normal progression. He could have played knight h5, and I think I was just trying to avoid that. But yeah, maybe knight df3 here is just fine. I was trying to find a way to push e4, break open the center in another way. I'm also looking for tricks on the c file here with queen c2. So here I was starting to look at things like knight d7, bishop d6, c takes d6, queen takes c8, queen takes c8, knight at e7, check, taking the queen. And I'm quite sure he saw it because, like I said, he's a chess player and he holds on to all the tactics. So he's taken with the correct piece with the queen here, basically allowing him to defend. So here I looked at bishop d6, c takes d6, queen takes c8, rook takes c8, rook takes c8, queen takes c8, knight at e7, check. The king moves, knight takes c8. I basically picked up a rook, but the problem is he's got like a knight, rook and queen in hand, and he could have played knight at h3 check and got his attack started first. So in the end I didn't like it, and I just stuck my knight on e5. And now we start getting critical, so the center is now opening up. There's a few tactics floating here, so bishop takes e4, knight at e2 check is coming in. Now if you did that, I'll go king h1, knight takes f4, bishop takes f5. I'm still pushing. So I didn't mind if he played knight at e2 here. I reckon that was his original plan, but he decided against it, and I think correctly so. And now he's got to block the light squares. Here maybe queen e2 is a move, but he's starting to attack me on the light squares. And I made a decision to give it up and go for the king side, but it's kind of a little bit too slow, I think. So here I'm figuring I'm okay, but he's got a lot of pieces. The bishop on h5 is giving some nice coverage. Now I missed knight at h3, and then he's played queen g5, which is a really nice way to come in. I can't block on g2 because queen takes g2 will mate with knight at h4 check, king g3, queen at g2 check, if king f4 or king h4, queen g5 mates. So I can't block on g2, I have to block on g3. And here I thought he could even just play queen takes h5, because after knight takes h5, knight at f3 looks like it still mates. So here I thought queen takes h5 is already good enough to win. And I'm feeling pretty silly about sacrificing my queen now. He found this move, pawn at g2, which is also a nice one. This is just basically threatening things like queen takes g3. It's threatening the rook, of course. And again, my clock is running down, so here I'm feeling, I'm in trouble again. And I'm feeling like blitzbullet is now, you know, playing a little bit hotter than I am, because I'm playing with white here. We're at 2-all, and he's pushing me on the clock. He's pushing me on the position. He found this neat trick, and then now I'm not sure if that's how he should have converted. I thought, yeah, maybe earlier queen takes h5 would be more accurate. I'm still in trouble here, but I feel like I've got a little bit of air to breathe, and my clock's running very short now. But I found, you know, I've got some room to run. Queen 8 h7 is now a threat. He's got to be careful. Bishop at e2, I can just play king d2. Same with knight at b4. So his checks have kind of run out here. Now he's got queen at h7 to deal with. Yeah, I'm not sure if my next move is right. I was expecting bishop at g6 here, and I was thinking of playing bishop takes g7 instead. I think that may have been more accurate. It just is asking a very tough question. How are you stopping queen at h8? I went for the path that looked like it was just going to win all the material, and then I was backing myself to find the right moves from here. And I've made an inaccuracy. Yeah, here I'm not happy because he's been able to grab the rook on g6. I've got the shake of the head again, and now I'm really running short on time. So is he, but we're just coming down to a flag race here. And he's got more on the clock than I have. Pieces are just going wild. So yeah, in the end I ended up defending the position, but even I think maybe bishop takes g7 instead of rook takes g1 was the key. I think blitzbullet had a win with queen takes h5 much earlier in the middle game. So a few misses there from both sides, but I think blitzbullet deserved to win that game the way he played the middle game, and the way I played the middle game. I don't think the queen sack was justified. I just missed an opportunity in the late game, so he's up 3-2 now. And I'm feeling like I'm in the wars here. So up until now, white's won every game, and he's just, in a sense, broken serve, to use a tennis term. He's, you know, won with the black pieces first. So here I got a pawn on e4, and now looking to hit on the dark squares. I quite like this position at the moment. I feel like I can make some dents. And here I think it's important to play accurately. I'm hitting e3, maybe something like bishop at g5 is right. I was tossed up here whether to hit h3 or e3. I'm feeling good about this here. And then he played g4, and it's like he's not afraid to play these ugly looking moves, but they're actually all sound. G4 is actually fine. He's got a bishop on g2 and f2. And I'm now feeling like the knight on g5 isn't the best looking piece. So maybe bishop at g5 first. Now he's starting to knock away my knight on d5. And you know, I can tell you at this point, like middle of the match here, I'm feeling like, you know, I'm at risk of getting outplayed in this 10-game series. You know, I'm feeling like blitzbullet is the better contender at this point in time. Now looking back here, I'm not sure if knight takes h3 is an interesting try to get queen h4 in. He might have to defend with king g2, maybe he's still okay. But that queen on h4 is not easy to remove. I went for rook d8 to grab e5, and again I could feel it during the game. I felt, you know, playing too slow in the middle game. You know, he's catching me up on time. I thought I started the opening well, and in a critical middle game, he's just finding good resources. So knight at f4 is here to block bishop takes e5. And you know, that's not really a bishop I want to part with. That kind of still claims some sort of weaknesses on White's king side. Now he's threatening my bishop on g3. I thought if I start taking that, all my dark squares fall to pieces. And now he's also got to find moves, and it's not easy for either of us. I mean, here I think he was looking for something on the dark squares, but I wasn't unhappy when he took the piece on g6. Here I should probably just take on h5 first. I kind of thought the bishop on f4 wasn't defended, but at this stage now I'm feeling like he's made a bit of a mistake here with knight takes g6, because I've been able to recover the piece and he's still got weaknesses around his king. I've now got, you know, entry squares through d4 and g4. So yeah, I've got to press the attack here. Now I'm trying to win some material. Knight at g3, very dangerous. f4 is getting hit, so yeah, I'm trying to come alive on the clock. Now I've got to be careful. Pawn at f7 has some tricks here. I think rook takes d1 was helping him a little more than it was helping me. So I made a quick decision, just a practical decision, to grab e6, avoid the tricks, and you know, basically get a very safe king. Stay up on the clock. I've only got 42 seconds left, so I want to give myself plenty of air. And here it doesn't help me to necessarily trade pieces off quickly. So I won't take d1 till I feel that I want to, because it might expose the back rank. So meanwhile I've got bishop on h4. So yeah, now moving the knight on f4. And here I'm just basically trying to capture all the pieces. Alright, hold on a second. I'm just going to pause the video for a moment. I've got to grab my child. Just give me a moment. Hello again, guys. Sorry about that. My child just woke up while I was recording. Yeah, getting back to this match. Here I'm looking at the clock again and going, well, I've got 20 seconds left. I've got a big positional advantage. Just got to move fast and finish this. So the knight on e2 is to bring a knight onto g3, and then now just make some dark square weaknesses. So yeah, bit of a slow grind, but should be fairly simple from here. And now I've got 15 seconds to place a few moves. So yeah, very happy to take that match because I was already down 3-2. So in a sense, breaking back with black. We're now at 3-all, and our horns are locked here. It's a tight match. And so yeah, this is not the most familiar position for me either, and I wasn't really thrilled with how I played them here. I should probably just castle and accept what's coming. I don't know if knight takes f6 is right. Maybe I should be taking e7. And so he's come in with knight at f4. And black just looks like he's making progress. He's just making progress. So here I'm playing this ugly move, c3, and I've got weaknesses. Okay. And he's found a nice move, knight at g5. I didn't see this. He's hitting the queen in e4, and I have to surrender a pawn. I tried to do something tricky. Queen a4, if he blocks with something like bishop d7, I've got bishop takes f7, king f7, queen takes e4. I was trying to recover the pawn, but he wasn't allowing it. So now if I play bishop takes f7, he can make me look silly with like d3. So yeah, I decided against bishop f7, but then the question is now what? And here's where I think the chess player in blitzbullet really comes out, because he's finding all the right moves here. King f8's a good move, bishop e6 is a good move. All these pieces are working well. He's a pawn up already. Now I've had to castle to try to get out of the way, and I'm here 3-all and feeling like, oh, I've fought so hard just to get back on even terms, and he's about to take it away from me. So pawn at e2. I'm hanging on by the skin of my teeth with knight e3. There's rook at d1, rook at f1 being covered. So here I just got to make sure I put pieces on the board. Rook at f1's coming. So for every piece he puts on, I've got to try to put a piece on or capture. And I'm kind of getting a little bit safer here, but still unclear. Down on the clock as usual, and it's not that easy to play. I mean, here maybe I should defend with bishop d5, and I thought rook at g4 would be good enough. And if he starts stepping back here, I get something like bishop at g5 in, and then he'll be on the back foot. So now knight takes f1. That's a great move. I've got to take that because of pawn at h2. And here I thought, once his queen backs off, I might be able to get some initiative, and I might be holding. And then he found pawn at g3. And suddenly, wow, it's like queen at h2 is a big threat. If I play rook takes g3, it starts opening up the f2 e3 diagonal. I've actually got to be really careful here. And this is why I've gone into a deep think. Pawn at g3, like, this is a great move. He's basically held on to just enough initiative where he's starting to look like the better player. So in a situation like this, I mean, I like to try to put on some pieces to get some defense going. And here was critical because I was wondering if getting, after king e7, I'm wondering if knight at d5 is helpful to defend e3. Sorry guys, just give me one more second. I'm just going to pause again. I've just got some noise in the background I'm going to reduce. Hold on. Okay, let's get back to it. So, yeah, here I've had to bite the bullet, grab g3, and from here we're seeing how bad it's going to be after bishop at e3. And I kind of saw enough to see I've got enough of a fighting chance. He's got rooks in hand. He's going to want a bishop to attack with, so I defend with the pawn so that he only has a pawn in hand. And then I'm putting my king on a white square. So here I've got very little time, feeling under the pressure. But it's also not that easy for black to find mate. White has a neat escape square out to b3. If I can run out that way, I might be okay. So I'm heading towards the queen side now. And bishop at g5 is a good move because it offers some defense to the black king. But here I'm actually seeing I'm not mated. Now I'm more concerned about the clock. And he's had to bail out and just defend. So now he's not making it easy. Knight at d5 offered defense of the e3 square. Now he's letting me grab the queen. So it's going to be a flag race versus me trying to mate quickly. And here I've had to sack a queen to try to get in. So I've just got to finish accurately here. 5 seconds on the clock and I find mate. So queen d8 mates if he blocks. If he captures, I've got knight at e7. So a finger in the air. I'm very happy to take that one. I was really feeling I was going to lose it after he played pawn at g3. And I was able to find the defenses and counter-attack in a time scramble at the end. So, you know, feeling good here, up 4-3, and, you know, got to try to make this game count. So I went for this bishop c5, bishop e7 idea, which I don't mind. It's nothing special. Maybe knight a5 is okay. Maybe knight d4 is also a move. I'm not actually sure exactly what should be played here. I should probably look at it. And you can see here I'm already thinking. So yeah, not minding what the opening is, but then also not sure if I'm moving down the best path. So yeah, I was planning some lines ahead here after he captures. I had in mind bishop takes h3, g takes h3, pawn at e2, queen takes e2, knight at f4. I'm just trying to crack open this position fast while I've got my queen on f6 and it's looking at f3. So drastic measures here. There's a lot of pieces in hand. If you don't start attacking quick, it's not going to end well. Now he's got bishop at g5, which is a good resource. It covers the f4 square from the knight. So queen e6, putting the piece red can't be hit. And yeah, I think objectively probably white is looking a little bit better here. But it's not straightforward either. Now knight at f5 is a good move. I want to play bishop at g4, but knight at h6 is a concern for me. And here it feels like white's just got 4 pieces on the king side. Black has the 2 pawns in return. So I've tried to make that dent by getting rid of the G and H pawns. But if I play f6, he's got queen d5. It just feels like black's too far behind here. So I thought, well, let's just grab c4. We're threatened pawn at e2. And my play here is to just try to capture material. Excuse me a moment. And he's just opted to sack and go straight for the jugular on g7. I think that's justified. So here's one of those situations where, white's just so far ahead on initiative. You can be down a couple of pawns and it doesn't really matter. But he has to press with every move here. So bishop f6, natural continuation. Pawn h6 is coming. I've got to just keep defending g7. So these are all forced moves from my side. I've got pawns and bishops in hand. I felt he could just make some captures here, like h takes g7, knight takes. And he chose this sequence, and I'm nearly toasted here because knight takes e6 is so dangerous. So I've got to find some nice defensive resources. Now the knight on g7 is actually my friend if I can remove the bishop on f6. So the idea, if he plays knight e6 here, I get bishop takes f6. Suddenly the rook file opens. He has no diagonal pieces in hand, and black's not looking too bad actually. So here I thought, is he going to try to hit f7? I was thinking knight at d8. So this is a really critical position here. And he did play knight at d8, and if I could play knight takes d8 here, he plays bishop takes g5, but then he gets to keep on holding on to diagonal pieces, and I'm not looking very safe on the king side, and he's looking much safer. So I was reluctant to allow him to just remove my bishop on g5 with ease, but now I'm consuming too much time again. Bishop at g6. I think he probably has some neat trick here where he can play something like knight takes f7, bishop f7, knight takes e6, bishop f6, pawn at g7, and keep things rolling. His king is much safer than mine. But I think he probably found something quite nice anyway to continue with. Yeah, this is like really critical. We're both down to like under half a minute, and there's plenty to play for in this position. Rook e8's the move he found. I took it pretty quickly. I'm wondering if bishop takes f6 is better now, having a look at this. But the time's so short, he now kind of gets to put his pieces in the right spots to hit g8. And so yeah, my time's running low here. I'm going to try to launch an attack. And I've kind of seen a ghost here, thinking knight at g4 is not covered. So I'm not sure if I have mate here. I don't think I do. I've missed that knight g4 just wasn't covered. So from here it's dead lost. But maybe after rook at e8, bishop takes f6 is a better try. So another great game played by blitzbullet there, which takes it to 4-all. So this is as tight as it gets. We're at 4-all here. If I want to win this series, I'm feeling like this is a must-win match. Yeah, I'm going to throw in the bishop f7 here. So this is a line. I normally don't play into this stuff, but I'm not too unhappy with what comes out of the opening here. I pick up a few pawns, get a big central pawn mass. Yeah, like this is not so bad for white. Now I have some options here. If I play rook g1, the move I was looking at was bishop at f4, which potentially grabs e5 or h2. So rook g1 is instinctively my first move, but I felt something was up. So I castled here. castled into the storm, so to speak. But he doesn't really have all that many pieces. He's kind of tied down as well. So my plan here would be to play d4, knight c3, you know, bishop e3, develop the pieces. And when the time's right, open up his side of the board. Pardon me. Just wish I could shake this cough. So he's gone into a bit of a deep think here on what he wants to do. He's opted to do a sacrifice, and I'm feeling like it should be okay for white. Now here I think maybe d4 is just natural, just develop. Queen g6 is coming in and it's hitting e4, so maybe even knight c3. I opted for knight at f4 to stop queen g6. And here we'll get to see how resourceful blitzbullet is. It's come out with bishop g5. Now I was looking at knight h3, bishop h3, queen f3 to win the bishop on h3, but he's got knight at f4. And then he's still threatening my rook on f1, and he's threatening the pawn on e5. Maybe knight h3 is a move. I think there's some continuation. Knight h3, bishop h3, queen f3, knight at f4, d4. And after bishop takes f1, bishop takes f4. So yeah, looking back at this now, I think yeah, hard to say. After d4, he had pawn at g4. Still hard to say actually. But yeah, here what he got out of the game. You know, after knight at h3 here, I feel black's better. Rook at g1 and knight takes f4 are just two unpleasant threats that are hard to stop. The bishop on b4 is to give a bit of coverage to e1. Here I was looking at pawn at f6, but I think it's too slow. He gets rook at g1, king e2, knight takes f4 check. And here's where I thought I found a resource, queen f3, and it's actually a blunder. I missed rook at g1 and bishop g4, and black's definitely better from there. So here I'm staring down the barrel of going down 5-4 already. Yeah, not liking my odds in this situation at all. Unfortunately, the discovered check isn't worth anything. So king g8. Knight at e6 is more to provide a bit of coverage on f4. And here I need to move. I think the right move here is queen b5 check. That would have sealed the deal pretty quickly, because once he grabs b4, you know, there's no attack happening here. So I took the opportunity to move my king onto a dark square. And now I'm looking at rook takes e4, which undermines the d5 pawn. So you still got to find the win here. Maybe even after rook takes e4, knight takes c7 could have been an option. Opening up the light squares. I missed that. Yeah, I would have preferred knight takes c7 there. So here I thought if queen takes c4, king takes c4, bishop at b5 check, king b3, over safe square on a3. So I'm feeling like I've got a little bit of a fighting chance here. But a5 really creates a problem for me. I need to hold that dark square. Maybe I had to take a5 and play pawn at b4 to try to keep defences up. But here he's stopping my king from running to b3. Because if my king gets to a2, it's safe. I'm here trying to stop bishop at a5, but after this, you know, I think I need to play king takes c5 there. This is just a nice mate. So he finished me off there, and blitzbullet's up 5-4 now. So we're only playing 10 games. Okay, he can't lose this one. Hang on, I'll just pause the video again. My daughter just needs breakfast. Hang on, come back. Alright, I'm back, guys. Blitzbullet says, lol. I wasn't sure what to make of that, but I expected maybe he wasn't expecting to win 5 matches, or maybe he's just happy with himself here. I'm not sure what to make of that comment. But I was doing a live stream at the time, and a lot of people were questioning why he'd say such a thing. I wasn't too bothered by it. So I headed down this same line again, and I think it is better for white. But I think here, yeah, we're going down the same path, and I felt queen takes c4 wasn't right. I didn't want to head down that path again. And sometimes it's good to give yourself an escape square here. So I was feeling like h6, and this is a really critical game because it either means you know, if I lose this game, I lose the match. If it's 5-all, I get to save half a point. So he sacked here, and I thought I'd be alright here. But he came up with some nice resources. Pawn h7. If I take it, knight at g5 check, and he grabs the queen. I thought here if he plays knight e5, I can survive that. And I didn't see queen d6. This is a big move. Pawn at g7 is now on. If I defend on g7 with pawn at g7, then he's going to play queen e6, f takes e6, knight at g6. So queen takes d6 is a brilliant move here. I had to bite the bullet and play c takes d6, but I wasn't feeling good about this at all. Pawn g7 takes, knight at g5. Taking that. I can't play king g8 because pawn at h7 mates me, so I've got to run up. Yeah, here I mean that was really unfortunate because blitzbullet, you can see he started commenting. He actually had auto queen on. I think if he promotes to a knight, it's all over. It's check. I have to play rook takes f8, rook at h6 check, king takes g5, pawn at h4, king g4, f. Oh, f. Have I missed something? Hang on a sec. Maybe I've missed something in the mating sequence. I was sure he had a mate, but even if he doesn't have mate, there'll be some kind of risk like rook at, or even just knight takes e6, or maybe I should take a quick look at it afterwards. But I'm pretty sure it's good for him after he takes it to knight. At the very least, it's check. Here I'm trying to desperately find the resources to get into his king side. I'm sacking everything. So if he moves back to h1, I've got knight f2 here, so I'm trying to bring his king out. Bishop at f4, and he can't stay on the king side. If he stays on the h file, he's going to be mated. This also covers bishop g5, so his king can't really go to h4. So it's basically flushing his king out to f3, e2. Unfortunately, I can't play knight at d4 to cover, but the next best thing is knight h2. I get to preserve that knight. I'm sealing off f1 and f3, and then queen c4 to continue the attack. If he blocked with a pawn, queen takes c2. I nearly took it. I wasn't really fighting the mating moves here. I think I should just straight away play queen takes d3. It's better to have the bishop in hand, and then rook at d2 and continue flushing the king out that side. This is a bit of a waste of a piece that's good to have in hand. And now I saw queen d3 is good. If he takes c takes d2, d3, then rook at d2, check, king e1, knight at c2 mates. So here I'm just making sure the king can't run back to e2. And I'm not confident here I have enough material to win. I think having that bishop that I put on g4 in hand makes a big difference. I had to go trying to consume pieces here with rook c2 to put more material in my hand. King d3 is mated by knight at b4. Here I thought I'd stuffed it up, and I only had 10 seconds left. But bishop at a4, I think he has to step accurately here. He may be able to get away. This is good so far. King a4, knight at c4. I think he should take the pawn first. Then if I play a5 check, he could run king b5, king b6. But he went to b5 first, which is just an error. Unless I have some other resource. So I was very lucky that you can see my relief. Yeah, I think blitzbullet will be disappointed with that last match. He was very unlucky that auto queen, meant that he didn't get check. He may have also had some other resources to get away. You can see he left the room pretty quickly. Yeah, what I might do is actually go onto the lead chess now and have a look at this game just in a little bit more depth. Just for the sake of the viewers, because that was such a critical match. So look, final score 5-all in the end there. I was definitely fortunate to get away with that. Just bear with me a moment. Let's get the window set up. So it's my profile. Let's have a look at this game. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it's a little bit small on the screen now. I've had to change the view size, but let's have a look at this on the analysis board. Alright, looks like there was a lot of chatter going on, and some computer analysis has already been done on this one. So yeah, the computer reckons it's a bit better for white already here. And after h6 it's calling it a plus 10.9, so plus 13.5. It's calling at h7 a blunder. It thinks knight at e7 is the best. Maybe there's some kind of knight g5, queen h5 move. So yeah, it thinks at h7 is a blunder. And what am I meant to play? Best move is knight at e2. Yeah, I'm not going to go through a whole heap of computer analysis here. I mean, viewers can go and do that. I'm here to kind of give my thoughts a little bit, but I think it's see, the computer's calling mate in 5 years, so it's certainly something. G takes f8 to make the knight. Follows with rook f8. Rook at g7 is the better option apparently. King h5. Pawn at g4. King takes g4, and then you get the queen with check. That's the key. This discovery check here. And once you got the queen in hand, it's all over. So yeah, I see that now. Like, doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna be mate. So yeah, that's unfortunate for blitzbullet. He had that in the bag by a long way. I think I'm just played into an opening that's bad twice in this series. Yeah, I think that was just important to note. So yeah, that could be quite decisive. So that's the difference between a half-point tie and blitzbullet actually taking this serious. So from here, I mean, it was taken with a queen. And I've had to go for all the checks, so even here it might not be over for white. Oh wow, so it's suggesting that white was actually better here if king h3. Here's how close it is. Then I think it may be harder to wrap up the white king. But after king g3 it's suggesting checkmate. So bishop f4. Yeah, and here I agree with the computer. Queen takes d3. Bishop at g4. I think this bishop is actually important. Just having that extra resource makes the difference. Let's see what the sequence is. If c takes d3, just explain. Rook at d2, king e1, knight at c2 is mate. So the king has to run up. Here we're looking at bishop at b5, c4, knight at c5. Yeah, there's plenty of material here now. I'm just gonna go through this sequence. And then rook at b4 if the king goes up, and then if the king goes back, pawn at b4. But that's just the difference with having an extra bishop in hand. I actually didn't see queen takes d3 till after I played bishop at g4. So yeah, I think here, even it's still calling it mate here and saying rook at d2. So bishop at b5 is meant to be better. And so you can see here, it depends wherever you step. You know, mate comes on, mate comes off. I've missed mate here. I think he can still get away. So yeah, king b5 is definitely a mistake. That falls into mate. I thought king takes b4 being okay, even just because he can run up in this direction, and then the king escapes this way. The difference was he went to b5 first, and then after pawn at c6, that prevents the king from coming forward here because this pawn is still guarding it. So yeah, it didn't matter here if he went a5 first. This is still going to be mate. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I mean, topsy-turvy match, that last one. All the drama with this auto queen piece. Yeah, if you look at, there's a lot of comments here. This is it. Yeah. I'm just looking at a few comments here. Seeing 12 Teen is saying he's going to be kicking himself if he loses this. Yeah. Well, okay, so I got away with some luck there. I mean, I missed some opportunities in the match as well. But look, this is only my second match. I'm now on 1.5 out of 2. Yeah, we're going to see lots more of this. I'm going to cut it off there. Thanks for joining. Please stay tuned. There's a lot more for the Crazy House World Championship to come. Apologies for the interruptions during my recording this morning. Just had to look after my daughter at the same time. Have a great weekend. See you next time. I'm going to be playing against Juanet next week. I believe it is the 1st of April, 6 PM GMT. I'll be streaming on Twitch again, and I'll do a post-match commentary video like I've done for this match against blitzbullet. Okay, have a great weekend, guys. See you next time. Thanks for joining.